Now before you can service this lock, you do have to take off the trim plate off the edge of the door, and I'll show you of course how to do that. There are 3 screws, and that's all you have to worry about to get this plate off. I use a Leatherman for a lot of what I do. It just saves a lot of time overall when you don't have to carry a bunch of tools with you, especially for a simple job like this. And then it just simply lifts off. Now this particular installation, you can see that it wasn't exactly, we'll just say, above par. But in this case, at least it shows us all the parts of the lock, and I can show you how to service it. This is the side view of this mortise lock. And this Adams right actually is secured on this door in 4 different ways. The screw at the top, the screw on the bottom, and then by this mortise cylinder that actually screws in, and this mortise cylinder that screws in. This is of course just a thumb mortise cylinder. And this is the simple operation of the lock. And it of course either operates with this or the key on the outside. I'm going to show you how to take this completely off the door and put it right back on. Now this is not necessary in order to do a rekey. If you're just simply going to rekey, or if you're going to remove this thumb turn and change it out with a cylinder, all you really have to do is loosen these 2 set screws, one of these 2 set screws, to work on either one of these cylinders. And I'll show you exactly how to do that as well. First things first, we're going to loosen our set screws. You don't want to remove them, you just want to loosen them. And that's about how far you want to take those things out, or loosen them. With a set screw loosened, all you have to do is simply rotate the cylinder, but this one actually has a cylinder guard, which basically keeps somebody from forcing the cylinder out. So what I normally do is just use the tip of a flathead and rotate the cylinder right out. Just like that. Now you can see that these are actually threaded. They're basically just big screws, and they just screw into the face of the door. And this little valley right here is actually where that set screw rests to keep it from rotating out. Now I'll take out the inside cylinder. Okay, now we're going to rotate the thumb turn out. This is a thumb turn cylinder, and it just screws out just like the other one does. Now that we've gotten those cylinders out, we're just going to simply unscrew the top and bottom Phillips head screw, and I'll show you how easy it is to remove the lock at that point. Now this is a very important point here. When you get to this point, put a finger in the hole. Otherwise, when you take out both of these screws, what can happen sometimes is the lock will actually fall inside of the door cavity. That is bad. So just keep it stationary with a finger. We're going to remove that. Remove that. And in this case, it couldn't have actually fallen in the door cavity, but you don't really know that until you do this. And that is the lock body. And they're always really dirty. This is how you reinstall it. Basically just reverse the process. Simple enough. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey when it comes to these screws. Nothing's reverse threaded or anything weird. And then just tighten them down. That's it. It's back in the door. Now we just have to put our cylinders back in. Okay, we're going to go ahead and install our thumb turn cylinder on the inside. Keep in mind that I would normally replace this collar, but the customer doesn't really want to do that, which is okay. It still functions. And you want to be very delicate and careful when you thread these things back in, because if you cross thread them, they'll become a nightmare. So just take your time, and you want to thread them in about 6 or 7 times. And that's about it. If you over tighten them, the thumb turn just simply will not turn. Make sure that the thumb turn is located at the bottom. You want this plug to be on the bottom of the cylinder when you rotate it all the way in to where you want it. Just tighten down your set screw. Test for operation, and we are done with the inside part. Now we'll install our cylinder. Okay, this lock came with a cylinder guard, so we're going to reinstall the cylinder within the cylinder guard. We're going to place it in the hole, and we're going to be very gentle in repositioning and rethreading this mortise lock. Just be careful and delicate. And then you want to tighten this down about 5 or 6 times, about 5 or 6 rotations. Yeah, that feels about right. And what I do at this point is I'll put a key in the cylinder, and as I'm tightening down the set screw, I kind of move this cylinder from right to left so I find that little valley that set screw will fit into. And then once it's in there, test for operation. Something's not right because it didn't allow the key to actually fully rotate. So we're going to back that off. I'm going to retighten. Now I think we're really in that valley with the set screw. We are. And everything's working great. Now we're going to go ahead and install our trim plate. Don't over tighten these screws, because if you do, a lot of them are made out of aluminum and they will just simply break on you. Make sure that everything's working. We're good to go.